Hello everyone, it's Christine here and I'm about to be sending out some happy mail, but I had a special request to share what I was putting in it. It's some happy mail for the winners of the 4,000 subscriber giveaway that the lovely Annie Claxton from Arty Farty Annie recently ran. I'll include a link to Annie in the description below. She does amazing art and craft videos, including slow stitch, which as you know is my real passion. And so it was a delight to be able to help Annie celebrate by putting together 2 packs for slow stitching, and I offered those as bespoke packs, which I would then speak to the winners and find out what their interests were and put together a pack for them. So one of my winners is particularly interested in florals, in neutrals, in burgundies, in creams. So I put together a pack that features those items and also just a few other bits and pieces because it's always good to have variety, and that person is sort of at the newer end of their slow stitching journey. And then my other winner said they would be very happy with whatever I would want to put together for them, so I chose some common items. But the other winner was also interested in getting some tweed-like fabrics because they find those hard to find in Queensland where they are, so I've included some of those as well. So there's a little bit of difference, but this pack will probably give you a good taste of what are in the prize packs. So this is the little package. I have to carefully hold it because the jar tries to slip out. So that's what it looks like from one end, from the other end, and I've wrapped it with a vintage tray cloth. I've got some vintage trim on it, which is this beautiful little flower design. You've probably seen me using it. All of the stuff in this package is stuff that I regularly draw on and use. I've got a little jar of buttons. I'll have to secrete the jar, I think, actually inside the pack when I send it, just to keep it safe. So I've got lots of lovely vintage metallic buttons, some pearl buttons, red. So I just tried to pick out some nice interesting buttons, fabric covered buttons. Yeah, my little mother of pearl vintage antique buttons. So hopefully there's a nice little selection in there for them to add to their stitcheries. The golds and metallics go particularly well with the sort of the burgundies, so I thought that would be a nice addition. I'm probably going to have to now try and re-squeeze these back in because I don't think the lid's going to fit on, so I'll just put the lid to the side, and I'll have to probably be repacking these packages anyway at the end. And then I've got a little wooden spool, and I've put some Appleton's wool in a pinky and a burgundy sort of colour onto those. So I'll pop that to the side. And a lot of my fabrics are vintage, so yeah, there's just a lot of things that you wouldn't even be able to find in the shops. This is a vintage crochet thread, which is I probably should put one of my little plastic twisty things on it. So some vintage crochet, which is just super for slow stitching. A beautiful wool. I'm not sure what brand this is. I just had a hank of it, so I just wound some off, and I'm learning to wind my threads decoratively as well. And then these are some of the beautiful cotton garden threads that I got recently. So the different weights of PLA and the regular stranded floss. So that's those ones, which will be nice for doing florals. Then some regular, but again vintage flosses, and some tapestry wools, again in the burgundies and the greens, which are great for doing thread painting or wool painting of your fabrics. Better take off the Travis hair. He doesn't come in my craft room, but the Travis hair does tend to infiltrate. And then we've got lots of lovely fabrics, so I won't open them all the way up, but this one's just a beautiful floral, a little Bambi fabric, another beautiful floral. I love collecting patchwork type fabrics because they add, you can just use a section of them and then it's like you've added multiple bits of fabric in the one go. These are great for just taking strips out of, or you can use sections of them, but they're almost like fabric ribbon when you do that. A lovely old piece of a ticking like fabric. beautiful woven little remnant. Another nice floral. So I've given some larger and smaller pieces just depending on the sizes. Let's get rid of that little thread nest, which I'll turn into an aught ball. This one's just a lovely neutral but with a faint little floral design on it. Some more burgundy and creams. Again, the burgundy. I've interspersed laces through the pack. You can see the burgundy theme coming through. Some more of this beautiful French style fabric. A lovely old piece of linen. It is just delicious. A fun French newspaper printed fabric. Some more lovely crochet style lace. There's a little bit of a pink bit of fluff on that. Some more beautiful laces. This one came from Alex's mum when they were going through their basement, not basement, their downstairs area. I've forgotten what it's called. So this is some of her lovely, very vintage fabric. Crochet, sweet little piece of lace embellishment. And with these you don't need a lot, you often just need a little section. So I've tried to give as much variety as possible. I do have a very extensive lace collection, so I just sort of dug into a couple of drawers and found some things in the colourways that I wanted. This one almost reminds me of an Indian type fabric. So the broderie anglais, lots of lovely selections. These are beautiful with the little leaves. Again, you wouldn't need a lot to add to your slow stitching. A little burlap trim. This is a Swiss vintage lace. Some vintage rickrack. A lovely little pom-pom trim. I adore this pom-pom trim. And some other lovely rose lace. Beautiful vintage trim. Some pearl buttons. Some more beautiful lace. This is the from my Nana, so I've got a roll of this, her beautiful rickrack. Definitely vintage. Some lovely fabric, so a decent quantity of that. Some more trim. Some more of the fabric that I got from Alex's mum. So it's just got nice sort of embroidery on it. Again, adds interesting texture. This one is a basket, part of a basket panel. Could even be nice to stitch into for Easter. So that's a bit of fun. A beautiful, I think this is a mode of French General little fabric. Part of an old something. It's got sort of some stitching on either side, but it's a beautiful linen. I should be putting these up the other way. A lovely, this is a precious linen, but happy to send a little bit of it out into the world. A beautiful French style bird fabric. I've been using this for one of the pieces that I'm yet to finish and add onto my treasure hunt piece for Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. A little piece of quilting, part of a patchwork panel UFO, unidentified unfinished object. I think I got this one from the sewing layer, so I've just taken a little segment, but I love the little birds on it, and it was the perfect colour scheme to pop in. Oops. A little bit of an embroidered, I think it's like cherries or berries or plums. But just again, nice to add texture, even if you use the back of it, it's lovely as well. An apricot coloured lace just for something a bit different, and if that colour's not to their liking, they can always tea dye it and get a more sort of neutrally colour. This would have probably been part of maybe a runner or something, but again you can fussy cut out the flowers or shapes or leaves. Even these little ones would be great to fussy cut out. Then just some interesting textural pieces. This would have come from the reverse art truck, but again you can tea dye it or colour it with ink tints or other things and just add texture in. These again could be used individually or stitched on. You could use them as stems or parts of a little garden scene. Part of a tea towel with the stripe on it, the French style tea towel. Some lovely soft pink spotty trim, an old lace, some flower trim, lovely big format cotton embroidered trim, an interesting sort of tanny coloured with blue embroidery on it, a lace of some description. Another beautiful little flower lace, so keeping the floral theme going. This is just a little bit, looks like it may have been like a fabric ribbon or something. I had a whole box of these that I got at some point. Some really lovely lace. I used some of this on my Roxy Journal of Stitchery Down the Garden Path piece. Some other lace. This one's lovely because it's got sort of a white edge and then it's got a cream interior. This one you would have seen recently. I'm using this as the lining on my Roxy Journal of Stitchery fabric pouch or envelope. This is a beautiful soft cotton. I think it came from an old sheet, probably from, I imagine, the 60s by the looks of it. This is a more recent one that I got from actually from an IKEA, but I just couldn't resist the design on it. So it was from an IKEA pillowcase and quilt set. I think a baby's one, but it's just got the sweetest little woodland scene. And again, I've used this in my Roxy Journal of Stitchery, a couple of the pieces, I think. Lovely green lace. I actually pulled some of that out to potentially put on my Roxy Journal of Stitchery envelope. A lovely delicate little lace. Again, it's really easy with the whites. If you want to just give them a quick dip in tea, you can just colour them more of a neutrally colour if the white's too bright for your work. So that's a good little tip. And a beautiful lace. Again, big, quite wide, so you could even use it as a little pocket or something, or just cut out elements of it. This one's lovely, got quite a reflective little sheen on it. I found this one when I was going through, I didn't even know I had it, but I pulled a bit of this out myself as well for my pouch because I think it would be lovely. It'll go really well with my pink and green colour scheme. But isn't it sweet? Look at that. Can't even remember where I got that from. That's the sign that you need to be delving into your stash if you're discovering things that you've forgotten that you actually have. And this one would have probably been a little collar sort of thing. But laces, yeah, they just add beauty, real loveliness to your slow stitching projects, particularly if you're going for that more sort of vintage look. Again, you could cut out the individual little flower elements or take little segments or use it in its entirety. I think it goes up that way. Such a rainy day here, so it's nice to be sending out some sunshine and creating some sunshine in my craft room. Even if I did create a little bit of chaos by pulling out the boxes to get these out. But I'm doing a bit of a reorganisation anyway and sorting things into some new drawer sets that I got. So it's a good time. It's just lucky I'm probably not showing you the background in my craft room. It's a beautiful wider lace. Part of a little tray cloth, but again, I know I have done this myself, cutting out elements like the flower or even these little sections or even a bit of the trellising. Yeah, it's really handy. Even the backs sometimes, I mean this is a machine done one, it's not a hand done one, but even the backs are interesting with the stitching, so that's another option. part of a tray cloth. So again, this gives the opportunity to cut out little slow stitch elements, little bits of the doily, even the corner pieces you can use as framing. So there's lots of possibility. These ones can be cut out, even these little longer stretches. Half of a round doily, and again you can nibble at individual sort of elements of it to add to your stitching, and you can tea dye it if you don't want it white. This I've used some of this tablecloth. I think I actually made a Christmas tree, one of my Christmas ones, out of this corner piece, but it's just the softest. It's been so well used, and you can see it's got tiny little little wear marks. But it is lovely, so that will give a lot of, again, able to cut elements out or use sections of it or work on it. Some beautiful rose embroidery on this one, again from a tablecloth that I've nibbled into. Another little bit of embroidery. As you can see, the original doily had some little marks on it, but you can fussy cut around these and add these to your stitchery. Always good to have some music fabric. This is some of the lovely wool woven piece that I got from Alex's mum. And then I've got some little fabric samples from the reverse art truck, which again are just nice little sizes that if you want some of this more stripy ticking like fabric, it's great to add in. So I've gone with the burgundies. This is where I've used brought some of the more tweeds out in the other pack that I've put together. These are more little cottony linen samples. So plenty of options here. And often this size is all that you actually need for slow stitching. That's why I love going to the reverse art truck, because I can get, lots of variety of fabrics. And often they're Italian linens and cottons, so you're getting amazing quality fabric that you just wouldn't probably even be able to buy because it's only offered to manufacturers and things to use. And then these are beautiful. These always remind me of the French Chanel jackets, the very classic ones. Bit of fun, bit of different colours, and then a lovely, this would be a linen with almost like a stripe and a woven section in it. Some beautiful burgundy floral, so sticking to that theme. It's a fun little vintage styled sewing-y sort of fabric, so it's got little thimbles, little pin cushions, buttons, rings, so almost like, I guess, a lady's dressing table. So it's just nice to have those sort of more, I guess, feature fabrics in your stitching, as well as the neutrals and blending ones. Had to put in a bit of a toile. So a lovely scene of people playing music, and you can again just take individual little sections of this, a little bit of a fountain. Little threads. It's always the bane of the existence in the craft room, isn't it, that you get little threads sitting on things. This one's got butterflies on it. Again, I think that came from Alex's mum from their vintage fabric stash. This one I got while travelling in regional Victoria, going to an op shop there. So it's a beautiful Australian made furnishing fabric. I think it would have been for furnishing because it's quite a thick linen cotton. Doesn't tell us which it is. But that's a lovely section of that. This one matches the background and it's a beautiful tapestry style garden scene, so that offers lots and lots of possibility. This one came from Alex's mum, and again it's a beautiful tweed like fabric, so I put a section of this in and a slightly larger section in the other pack, given the other ladies' interest in that. Again, it's in that beautiful burgundies colour. This one's a beautiful soft cotton, and it's got a lovely floral scene on it, as well as some other. So again, you can use portions of it. You can stitch in and do some thread painting of the flowers. Some more flowers up here to thread paint. Even when you've only got part of them, they're perfect to put on the side of your piece. So it's, yeah, I often find it easiest to use those bits at the sort of cut off sides, because I feel like they're just waiting to be used in my slow stitch. And then this is a beautiful, very old handmade little crocheted pieces, and again these can just be used as individual little elements. Another lovely soft cotton with a really beautiful pale flower design. Let's take a bit of thread off, and again it's got the option to use the border pieces as well as just to cut out sort of seams. So that will be useful. A little heart cutout. I've been using these in my little slow stitch squares. A burgundy felt, which just wants to attract every little bit of fluff to it. Another piece of lace. This one's just a nice off-white lace. Some lovely bits of neutral cottons. Again, just lovely to add just that, yeah, to sort of complement when you've got the more busy designs. This is a lovely sort of crinkly textural, it's definitely a synthetic fabric, but yeah, fun to just take a little bit of that and add it in. This is a quilt, like a star, a printed quilt style. So again, could use the star in its entirety or take sections of it. But I figured it was in the right colour scheme. So that is the lovely package of goodies that I have put together for the prize winners. So I'll quickly give you a look at some of the tweeds as well, because that's really the only different bit between the two packs, and these are just fabric samples that I had from the reverse art truck. So these are the tweed like fabric. Some of these would have been furnishing because they've got a slight coating on the back of them, but I have tested with a needle and the needle goes through fine, so I think they'll be a-okay for slow stitching. This one's almost a bit more of a linen. I love that it's got the two different designs on the sides. Some smaller little samples here. In fact, I think I've cut two, so I think some of these are meant to actually be in this pack over here. These are the ones that have a slight coating on the back, but I think they'll still be very, very useful. Just bringing some more textural pieces into the other lady's work. I think I cut two of those as well, so one of those is meant to be there. This is a tweed like tartan fabric, but with a really interesting little embroidery on it. And then some little felt, more sort of like felty like, but I'm guessing, but there is still a woven sort of quite, yeah, soft woolly feeling. So I thought they could be useful because they're probably harder to find in Queensland as well. Beautiful finely woven woolen one. A lovely blue woven wool piece. Some more little fabric samples. A green woven wool. A tartan. Potentially vintage. And then this is the larger piece I mentioned of the same fabric that's in the other pack. So they're just a few additional slightly different pieces. I'll pop these ones into here. This will go well with the neutrals. So that is the the little giveaway pack. So I hope you enjoyed having a look at that. And thanks so much for watching, and definitely head over and check out the lovely Annie Claxton as well. Bye everyone.